Hey, it's Rivian Updates. My name's Isaiah. Rivian released their Q4 and full 2023 year production and delivery numbers. Rivian also changed some delivery estimates on their website. I want to talk about it. So this morning, Rivian released their Q4 and full 2023 production delivery numbers. So let's break it down. Rivian Automotive today announced production totals for the quarter and full year ending December 31st, 2023. Happy New Year, by the way. This marks the end of a quarter and of course the new year. The company produced 17,541 vehicles in its manufacturing facility in Norman, Illinois, and delivered 13,972 vehicles during the same period. On a full 2023 year basis, during the entire year of 2023, the company produced 57,232 vehicles and delivered 50,122. This exceeded management's most recent full year 2023 production guidance of 54,000 vehicles. Congratulations to Rivian. I'm really proud of what they did this year. This is more than double the production and delivery than what they did last year in 2023. So Rivian did a great job this year. Investors don't seem to think so. So Rivian's stock dropped 10%. That is because Rivian missed their delivery target. But what caused them to miss it so much is the Amazon EDV. Now, there's a video going around of the Rivian lot being full of Amazon EDVs. And this is because Amazon stopped taking delivery of them. Rivian said that during December, Rivian was not going to be delivering the Amazon EDV. Amazon was not going to be accepting them because they wanted to focus on holiday deliveries. So Amazon was not accepting deliveries, so these vans were just sitting in a Rivian parking lot, and it looked like there were about 1,800 vans in the parking lot. We know 1,800 vans, right, that are just sitting in a lot. This is 1,800 units that we saw of inventory, right? Okay. Now, from what we have here, we saw that there were 17,541 vehicles that were produced and 13,972 of those were delivered. That gives us a difference of about 3,569 units of inventory. Okay. Now, what we see, we know at least 1,800 of that. We know at least 1,800 of that is the EDV. So there's 1,700 units of inventory that we just don't know what it is. It could be R1T, it could be R1S, it could just be more EDVs. Now, the reason I highlight this is because Rivian definitely has a significant log of inventory. Now, Rivian has sold 82,500 vehicles and they've sold 71,000 vehicles. This would give us 11,500 vehicles in inventory. That right there. That's how much inventory Rivian currently has. And when I say inventory, right, that doesn't mean that those vehicles aren't going to be able to be sold. These are vehicles that maybe have a VIN connected to someone. Maybe they haven't picked it up yet. Maybe they haven't completed the purchase orders, right? There's a chunk of these vehicles, right, are going to be what? Those EDVs that we saw in the video. Another chunk of those are going to be orders that people have not picked up. But that still gives us thousands of vehicles that just haven't been delivered. Now, we've known for a while that the EDV has a bottleneck, right? That bottleneck is a few things, right? It's going to be Amazon refusing to take delivery. That's going to be how long it takes to deliver an EDV, right? They are loaded on these trailers that are maximum two vans per trailer. And so there has always been a backlog with the EDV. So maybe, I would say best case scenario, a lot of this inventory is EDV. The other explanation would be quarters. So we know that Q1, which is the quarter that we are in, our current quarter, this is what we're in. Rivian's going to be continuing to do their current production rate. Q2, we know that Rivian is going to be closed for several weeks for some remodels, some upgrades to the factory. They're going to be increasing the production rate as well. Q3, right, it's a ramp. Q4, it's another ramp. Okay, they're ramping up to the scale that they currently want. So Q2 in quarter one, we know that Amazon did say that in quarter one, they will be taking delivery of those EDVs that they didn't take in quarter four. So hopefully, quarter one, deliveries will be a lot more than production. This would take a lot of this inventory away. Same thing for quarter two. There's going to be a several week shutdown. I already expect deliveries to significantly be higher than production. We know quarter two, there's going to be a several week shutdown. Even then, they're going to have to ramp up again. I already expect for quarter two, maybe even quarter three, for deliveries to outpace production. But how did we get to this place in the first place, right? How did we get to 11,500 units of inventory? That's the issue. Now, compared to other auto manufacturers, right, from the likes of Lucid and the likes of Fisker, right? Fisker released their numbers, and they've sold about half of what they've produced. Lucid, on the other hand, has sold about a sixth of what they produce. Rivian, on the other hand, has sold about 90% of its inventory, right? 71,000 is what they've delivered, and they've produced 82,000. This is great. But compared to the likes of Tesla, right, who this year, 2023, they delivered, I believe, 1.8 million vehicles, and they made 1.85. The margin between the amount of inventory they have, slim compared to Rivian. So we got to figure out, right, and this is something I'll talk about in the future, we got to figure out why Rivian has 11,500 vehicles of inventory in the first place. And I don't think that this is just a direct indicator, right, of maybe Rivian's demand problems. I think what would help Rivian a lot is going in globally, right? Rivian has the model S and X, Tesla has the model S and X, Rivian has the model R1T and R1T. So Tesla's selling those globally. Rivian is only selling those in the United States, which would pretty much mean that Rivian is selling more R1Ts and R1Ss than Tesla is selling Model S and Xs in the United States. So what I expect, what is the goal that we hope for, right? What do we want in 2024? We got to look at this inventory. Rivian's got to significantly reduce costs, because with volume, the more volume that Rivian has, right? The more volume that Rivian has, the more we can expect more of this backlog of inventory. However, Rivian needs volume to become gross margin positive. So there's some things that need to happen, which is like entering other markets, Australia, Europe. I get asked all the time, when is Rivian going into these areas? When are they going to be selling there? Rivian has not said yet. Rivian has opened. They've said, hey, we're willing to. But that comes with added costs, right? They're going to have to open service centers. They're going to have to maybe open some Rivian Adventure Networks. That is extra work that has to be done. So I wouldn't be alarmed. I wouldn't take this. I don't think face value, this means anything to show Rivian's like a slow in demand, or Rivian has no demand, they're dying. However, this is definitely a lagging indicator that some work needs to be done bringing down costs, so Rivian doesn't have to expand the volume so much that creates this inventory. I hope I'm making myself clear here. And I have this graph here, right? Production deliveries. We can see that deliveries and production have continually increased, and we see here quarter four that deliveries dropped. Still up compared to other quarters, but it's dropped, right? It's lower than quarter three, but compared to other quarters, it's still up. Deliveries have always been below production. It is easier to produce a vehicle, have it sitting in a lot. The next step of that is delivering them, right? So, as with all automakers, there is a difference between production and deliveries. How close can you get those production deliveries together is the smart thing, right? $920 million worth of inventory is sitting in Rivian lots. That's how much is sitting in Rivian lots right now, right? 11,500 times 80,000, which is Rivian's average ASP. Between all of the average sale prices between the quarters, it's about $80,000. That's $920 million, $1 billion sitting in lots hasn't been sold off. It's important that Rivian, again, reduces costs so they don't have to increase volume to the point that they're getting more of this inventory. Now, if we go to Rivian's website here on the R1T configuration page, it says shop available configurations, delivery in 1 to 2 weeks. The reason people are having an uproar with this is that previously it said delivery in 1 to 6 weeks. People, 1 to 2 weeks is included in 1 to 6 weeks. We are aware that the R1T demand is significantly less than the R1S and R1T, and EDV rather. The R1T is a great offering. Compared to the F-150 Lightning and the Cybertruck, the R1T is prime, right? And people who want this vehicle, they can now get it in 1 to 2 weeks. Inventory is not a bad thing. The Tesla Model Y is the best-selling vehicle globally. They produce the most of one vehicle model and sell the most of one vehicle model, and there are dozens. I don't live in a large city. The closest service center is about 250 miles away. I see dozens of Model Ys that I'm able to buy and get by the end of this week, right? I'm able to pick up. So inventory is not a bad thing. Again, we know that the R1T has less demand than the R1S and EDV. It is a mid-sized truck with a lot of utility, but it's a mid-sized truck that is $80,000 to $90,000. We see what's going on in the market, right? The economy right now. Maybe this isn't the best time for people to want to buy a $90,000 truck, but nonetheless, right? People are willing to spend that for an SUV, right? We see this compared to the Land Rover Defender, the G-Wagon, right? These large SUVs that have a lot of utility, are capable, are unique. There is a larger market for them. Not to mention that Rivian is only selling in the United States. They're not selling globally like Land Rover or Tesla or Mercedes with their SUV offerings. So, this is just one market. I think what we need to see in 2024, I think Rivian needs to branch off into other markets. We've seen a right-hand drive Rivian R1T, right? It can sell in the UK, it can sell in Europe, it can sell in Australia. Rivian needs to sell the R1T and R1S globally. That would significantly quell any worries that people have. It would open up a new market of people who want the vehicles. I get DMs all the time, people asking me, when is Rivian going to sell in Germany? When is Rivian going to sell in Australia? When is Rivian going to come to South Africa? People want the R1T and R1S, but just selling in one small market like this, the R1T is 2 years old, I'm not surprised. We might see some of this demand kind of swell away again when the smaller standard pack, the 100 kilowatt hour LFP battery pack, the cheaper price R1T comes out. However, still, the R1T just has less demand than the R1S. And so we're able to get an R1T in as little as 1 to 2 weeks. And if you want an R1T, you're going to get an R1T. I hope I was able to provide some context for people who are confused on why there was such a big difference in production and deliveries for Rivian this quarter. Fight the FUD. Understand that Rivian announced this months in advance. It was expected from Rivian. The R1T demand is just a little different than what we see for the R1S and EDV, which has 100,000 vans to be built for Amazon.